Hey, welcome to Therapy by Gabby. I'm Gabby. I'm a licensed professional counselor practicing in the state of Wisconsin, and I talk about things for therapists, therapy goers, and the mental health experience in general. It's one for the therapist, future therapist, and anyone that's interested in understanding what the back end of owning and operating a private practice looks like. I don't have any sort of filming setup, so you'll see next to me is my laptop sitting on my chair, and I'm going to be referencing this because I've created a step-by-step guide on how to start building your private practice. When I started my private practice a little over 2 years ago, it was the most terrifying, emotional, exhausting time of my life. Don't get me wrong, it was also exciting because I knew what I was working towards, but it brought up a lot of old stuff, like old core beliefs, old stuff I worked on in therapy a long time ago that I realized was not resolved and I still needed support for. I can't speak for everyone, obviously. Maybe you're someone that can jump into this and it's not going to activate stuff. But in my personal experience, it activated so much emotional shit for me. So if that happens, know that you're not alone. It makes sense, and you can reach out for your own support as well. Building my private practice has been one of the greatest accomplishments in my life, and I really want to empower other therapists to create and nurture a sustainable practice that they want for their life. And so I hope this step-by-step guide will be a helpful support as any therapists out there are taking the risk in building their private practice. And remember, you fucking got this. So, before we jump into it, I want to be very clear that this is not all of my own work. This is a lot of information that I took from multiple resources and synthesized into one document. And so, just to list off a couple of my resources, we have the Abundance Practice Building, Lean In Make Bank, Zinni.me, Private Practice Experts, the Private Practice Pro, the Private Practice Startup, Private Practice Skills, Selling the Couch. I'm sure there are several other ones out there, but these are the main resources that I utilize. I did pay for subscription for Abundance Practice Building, which was a huge support in building my private practice, which I will talk about more later on. But just to be clear, this is not all of my own information. A lot of the stuff was already out there. I just researched and then synthesized the information. Another quick disclaimer, this video is going to be specific to the United States because that's where I'm from, and I'm not sure if all of this will apply to any other location, so please keep that in mind. Let's jump into step one. You want to be properly licensed. You need to confirm that your license allows you to own, operate, and work within a private practice setting. I don't know all of the rules and statutes for all of the states, but I practice in Wisconsin, and even though I didn't own and operate a private practice when I was in training, I did work in a group practice setting with my in-training license. There are some states that do not allow in-training or associate level therapists to own, operate, or work within private practice settings. There are some states where there are weird rules for people who are fully licensed. So just do yourself a favor and check with your state board before you decide to make any jump. Once you get the confirmation that you are good to go in working in a private practice setting, I outlined all of the other things that you need to consider and do in order to build your practice. However, it's not in any specific order. I outlined it in a way that I thought would make sense to me, but honestly, a lot of this stuff kind of ebbed and flowed. Like some of it I did at the same time, and some of it kind of like I started it and then I stopped it and then I came back to it. Like, just do what works for you. I outlined it in a way that makes sense in my brain, but maybe it makes sense in your brain differently. So yeah, just want to put that out there. If you're going to have a private practice, you're going to need to form a business. So you want to file for your LLC and you want to apply for an EIN. In order to file for an LLC, you need to have a business name. Big disclaimer. Big disclaimer. Do not make the same mistake as me. When you are thinking about the business name that you want to use to market and operate your private practice, please do some research and make sure that that name is not already in use or already trademarked, because I did not do my research, and guess who got a cease and desist 4 months into my practice? Me. Yep, it was not fun. It was very scary. My naive self, never having formed a business before, thought that when you go onto the website to form your LLC, that it would tell you if you used a business name that was already in use or was trademarked. I don't know about other states, but that is not how it works in Wisconsin. They, let me file my LLC. And then, of course, I found out months later that this name was already in use and it was actually trademarked. So of course I happily changed my name to something else. I worked with a lawyer to help me facilitate that process. And so one tip is, if you don't want to do that research yourself, or you just don't even want to worry about whether or not you're good, consider working with a lawyer to help you, research all that information, file your LLC, and get your business up and running. Your EIN is your employee identification number, and you're going to need that for tax purposes. It is free to do, and from what I remember, it was pretty easy. And then you will want to check with your state and city if you need to secure a business license. It will be important to open a business bank account where you can track all of your expenses and use that account to pay for any of the costs of running your practice. Some people do hire out to track their practice expenses. I personally track it all myself, and in this guide, I have linked a expense tracking spreadsheet that I found on TikTok, actually. That link will take you to that creator's website, and there's a lot of options to choose from. I chose one that I felt worked best for my needs, and then I just adjusted it as needed. If you do your own taxes and feel like you got that taken care of, this part might not apply to you, but I personally am not an expert when it comes to taxes, so I decided to hire a CPA, and this is the person I go to for all things related to my business when it comes to like business expenses, and do I want to continue filing as an LLC for my taxes, or do I want to switch to an S Corp? I love having my CPA as a resource to support me as I'm navigating that part of my business. I'm not a CPA, so please do your own research. Please talk to your own CPA about this information, but my understanding is if you're filing taxes as an LLC, you have to file quarterly, and that's personally what I've been doing the last couple of years. So I have to pay about $10,000 every quarter for my taxes, which is about $40,000 a year. And then my understanding is if you file taxes as an S Corp, you pay yourself as a W-2, and then instead of paying taxes quarterly, they come out of your paycheck however often you pay yourself as a W-2. Don't have any more information on that really. Again, not my area of expertise. Please do your own research. I am talking to my CPA currently about making the switch to an S Corp, but it's in process. And something that is new as of 2024 is we have to complete a beneficial ownership information report. Did link it in this guide so that you can check it out and ask any of your resources around you, like your CPA, how to navigate this. Before we start diving into the other behind the scenes stuff of building your private practice, it can be important to decide, do I want to work in person? Do I want to work virtually? Do I want to do a hybrid of the two? Because if you have a office address, you need to have that information as you take care of some of the other stuff on the back end. Something to consider as you're thinking about if you want to have an in-person office or if you just want to do virtual is that if you're planning to credential with insurance companies, most of them, at least from my knowledge, will require a physical address, meaning you will need to rent an office space. What I have heard, and I don't panel with any insurances, so I don't have any personal experience in this, but what I have heard from other people, at least in my area, is that insurance companies will not accept a virtual address for virtual private practices. Some people do use their home address as a loophole to this situation. However, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable if clients could potentially access my home address, so it's something to really be cautious about. If you decide that you do want to rent an office space in order to meet with clients in person, it can be helpful to start by narrowing down the location you would feel comfortable having your office at. Then consider the following factors. What's your budget? How much can you afford in rent per month? Do you want to sublease from another provider or another practice, or do you want to rent your own space? Wherever you have your office, you want to ensure that you have access to Wi-Fi. You want to have some furniture, which doesn't have to be fancy or brand new. You can go to thrift stores. You can go on Facebook Marketplace, ask friends or family if they're getting rid of any old furniture. If you check out my Amazon storefront, I do have a list of office essentials that includes a lot of different therapy books, but also just stuff that I bought and have in my office that help me to create the comfy space that I have now. If you're deciding that you're going to be working virtually only and doing it only in a space in your home, you want to make sure that you have a comfortable home office that has secure Wi-Fi, and you're going to want to make sure that you have any necessary essentials to make sure that your client's information is going to be kept confidential. So maybe that's sound machines, maybe like something to put under your door so that if anyone else is home, no one can hear what's going on in your sessions. You just want to make sure that everything is private and also comfortable for you as you're working in that space. You're going to need malpractice insurance. So I personally use CPH and I've been using them for the last couple of years. And if you sign up with them, they do give you 6 free months of Psychology Today. There are a lot of other options as well, so just do your research and choose what works for you. And because I do rent an office space, I also have general liability insurance, which I get through State Farm. And the only reason I went through State Farm is because that's where I get all of my home and car insurance stuff, and it just made sense. But again, there are lots of options. So if your landlord does require general liability insurance, or you just want to have it yourself to protect you, do your research, choose what's going to work for you and what is in alignment with your lease. You are going to need your National Provider Identification Number, otherwise known as your NPI. Now, I don't know about other therapists, but I don't remember anyone ever discussing with me what the fuck an NPI is. And so luckily for me, I was having a conversation with my supervisor at my very first job, and it came up and I was able to ask more questions and get my information from them. A lot of times what can happen is if you work at an agency, they will sign you up for an NPI on your behalf, but a lot of times they won't tell you about it, at least in my experience. They use that NPI in order to bill insurance for your services. You can go on the NPI website and check to see if you already have one, and if you don't, you can apply for one, and I do have this linked in the guide that I have created. Depending on how you want to run your practice, you will need to consider a phone system, an email system, and an electronic medical record. Now, there are a lot of different options available, so do your research, see what works best for you, consider your budget. However, I'm personally somebody that wants my business to be as streamlined and easy and convenient as possible, not just for me, but also for my clients. So I was willing and continue to be willing to spend a little bit more money in order for my business to be convenient and easy and essentially to buy my time back. You don't have to do that. There are cheaper options available, but this is what works for me, and this is what I'm going to continue doing because it just makes everything so easy. I do use Spruce Health for my phone system, Hushmail for my email system, and Simple Practice for my electronic medical record. And I do have affiliate links for all 3 of those that will be linked in the guide that I will put in my link tree. So if you want to check those out, if you're interested in them and you want a little bonus when you sign up and I get a little bit of a bonus, you can sign up through my links. So starting with my phone system, I use Spruce Health, which is HIPAA compliant, and I pay for the basic plan, and I primarily use it for phone calls, voicemails, texting, and faxing on occasion. You can also add your clients in the app as contacts, so it's really easy to send them a message or give them a call. There are some other features that are available, but I don't utilize them, so I can't speak on them. But with the features that I do use, it has really streamlined my practice and just made it super easy to stay in contact with my clients. I also appreciate that I can set up an auto reply text message, so if anyone ever tries to text me outside of my business hours, they get an automated message that says I'm not available, gives them all of the necessary details and emergency services. For my email system, I do use Hushmail, which is HIPAA compliant, and there are some other features available on this system as well. However, I just really needed the basics, and so I think I pay for what they call the starter plan. I just wanted to be able to have email exchanges with my clients that I knew were going to be HIPAA compliant. For my electronic medical record, I do use Simple Practice, which I love. I pay for the Essential plan, which is $69 a month, and it has everything that I need in one place. So again, there are a lot of other options out there, but Simple Practice is just so easy and convenient. I knew that I wanted something that, provided the basics like scheduling and billing and having a space to put all of client information in, but it also has automatic appointment reminders. There's a client portal where I can send clients informed consent paperwork or any other documents that I might need to share with them. They can also go in and cancel and reschedule themselves, move around appointments. It's really easy and convenient for both me and the client. And there's also the option for virtual sessions to be held within the Simple Practice system, which is really nice. And again, the clients get the automatic appointment link to the virtual session. Simple Practice also works with Stripe, which is the credit card processing company. And so I also have all of my billing capacities in one spot, which is really easy, again, to have clients input their credit card information, and then I just click a button and it's taken care of. So again, this is what works for for me. And essentially, I'm buying back my time and making my business as easy and convenient for both myself and for my clients. And again, if you are interested in Spruce, Hushmail, Simple Practice, you can go into my link tree and use my affiliate links. If you sign up with my affiliate link, you get a little bonus and I get a little bonus too. All right, I definitely need to make a part 2 for this video. There's still so much left. So like, subscribe, put on the notifications so you can get notified when I put up part 2, but it's coming up soon.